Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Good morning, and welcome to Good Morning Crypto, where we turn your early hours in the morning into your edge in financial freedom. Today, I've only got one headline. It's about the tariffs, and I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into that one. We all have been seeing the news, and Trump keeps adding more of these tariffs that he wants to impose on other countries and certain sectors, and it kind of has some positive things that might come from it if it is handled properly. So we'll dive on into that after we get through that starting lineup. We've got that stock heat map pulled up. Apple sitting down at 0.05, sitting right in that neutral range quite nicely. Sitting down at 0.19 in the pre-market right now. We do have Nvidia sitting up a 0.4. And in the pre-market, sitting up a 0.62. We've got Berkshire Hathaway sitting up a 0.67 in the pre-market, looking down just a little bit, but still in a neutral range, down 0.13. We've got Amazon seeing some sell-off from yesterday, down 0.89, and in the pre-market, sitting down 0.23. We've got Eli Lilly sitting up a 1.53, and in the pre-market, sitting in that neutral range, up a 0.16. We got ExxonMobil doing quite nicely. Oil has been doing all right off of the more recent tariff news, and has been given a little bit of a boost to that sector. We have ExxonMobil sitting up 1.76, and in the pre-market up 0.22 right now. We've got Tesla sitting in that neutral range, down 0.49, and in the pre-market seeing some continued light sell-off, down 0.07. We've got P&G looking like it's making a little bit of recovery after a 4% down day at the beginning of the week, and is up 1.56. And in the pre-market, seeing some light buying pressure, up 0.08. We've got Microsoft sitting in that neutral range, up 0.3 from its close yesterday. And in the pre-market, sitting down 0.07. We've got Google sitting in that neutral range as well, down 0.57. In the pre-market, seeing a little bit of buying pressure, up 0.11. And we've got Meta sitting down at 2.76. And in the pre-market, seeing some continued selling pressure, down 0.12. Let's hop over to that crypto side of things. We are looking pretty green for the morning so far. Bitcoin up 0.83 on the daily. We've got Ethereum up 1.9, XRP up 1.89. We've got BNB sitting up 1.6, Solana up 2.65. We've got Dogecoin sitting up 1.51. Cardano sitting up 2.41. We've got Tron sitting up 1.8. Chainlink sitting up 1.42. Stellar Lumens doing a lot better than XRP is, up 4.47. We've got Litecoin up 4.37. Avalanche up 1.93. And SWI sitting up 4.19. We do have some heavy data coming out here shortly. We've got that building permits month over month and building permits preliminary, looking like we're going to see a little bit of a slow up on those building permits. And we also have housing starts looking to slow down just a little bit as well on that forecast. We also have that month over month, which might be coming out a little bit under that 15.8% that it was last time, if the rest of these are also slowing up. We'll kind of have to see how that data is coming out, but with the way that the economy has been heading, it might come in even under that forecast. So Definitely a little bit of some downside pressure that could be coming from that housing data. We also have later in the day the FOMC minutes from the last FOMC meeting. That will be the big market mover at 2 o'clock today. Definitely keep your eyes out for that this afternoon. We do have a few Fed chairs speaking today. Fed Jefferson at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. So that's another thing to keep your eye on, especially since, the consensus has been that we will be holding rates steady for longer. It'll be nice to kind of see if we continue to see that consensus, especially after we get those FOMC minutes today. We do have a little bit of some heavy data coming out tomorrow as well. So some of these moves today will be in preparation for tomorrow as well. We do have the Philadelphia Fed Manufacturing Index, which is looking to cool down extremely heavily. Was sitting at 44.3 prior, and the forecast is 20. So a massive slowdown on that, and might be looking for a bit of some sell-off off of that news. Definitely looking for a preparation for tomorrow's data drop. You do also have a few Fed chairs speaking tomorrow as well. 12:05 Fed Musalem and Fed Bar speaking as well. You do get Fed Kugler speaking at 5 p.m. tomorrow. And for that Asian market, we will be getting that inflation rate. So definitely the next 2 days, a little bit of some heavy hitting data. Let's hop over to that fear and greed. Oh, let me get those pulled up full screen. There we go. We've got that stock market sitting in neutral and 49, up a point off of a pretty neutral day. We also have the crypto side of things down 3 points and sitting in fear. Nothing really too concerning, especially as we've seen a little bit of some downside movement and are seeing a little bit of recovery. So depending on what ranges we can get up to and turn into some support, you might see that tick back to that neutral range again. We also have some liquidity residing to the bottom side of us. Let me get that refreshed, as we did get a little bit of a move up to break this high from back here. We did grab quite a bit of the liquidity that was residing above us. So that hot spot for the daily is sitting down at that 93,000 range, back here where we had seen the lows. You zoom this on out to that 3-day, you do have some liquidity still residing to the top side. So seeing that grab of liquidity to the bottom before we push back up to that top side at 97,000 will kind of be a move to look for. You do have that 1 week still sitting with a very neutral liquidity on either side of us. A broad range of light liquidity sitting down at 93, running all the way down to 92,800. And you do have a light hotspot residing at that 97,000, and again back up at that 99,000. Zoom that on out to the 2 week, and you can kind of see most of that higher term liquidity is residing back to the top side. So might see that clear out of the lower liquidity before we really continue that move back up. We have been ranging quite nicely and taking out most of that bottom side and top side liquidity. We'll just have to take a look at that Bitcoin chart and see how likely it is that we go grab some of that top side liquidity. Let's say hello to the chat this morning. I see a bunch of people in the chat so far. We've got Jesse Gulak in here. We've got Mike Volmer saying good morning to everyone. We've got Jeffrey Stonecipher in the chat. We've got Jay Violet. We've got Kyle Fields and Donato Cabrera. Good morning, good morning. We've got All Set in the chat as well. Good morning to you. I see Jesse says, look at your hair, BC. Yeah, I took a shower after the gym this morning because I went a little hard. So I had to completely put some leave-in conditioner in because that sweat was just absolutely demolishing my hair this morning. So thank you for that. We've got everyone just saying good morning in the chat so far. All right. Well, if anyone does have any alt requests they'd like me to take a look at, I have plenty of time because I'm moving quite quickly, and I only have one news article for today because there's a bit to break down on it. But right after that, I can hop into some alt requests for the day. So let's hop into this Bitcoin chart. This is the 15-minute. Let's get that zoom back out to the daily because it's been a day since I was able to do the show. Was doing some snow removal, so that was a lot of fun. All right, we've got that daily looking like it's about to potentially see a move to the upside. MACD is prepping for a cross on the bottom side. You've got your liquidity sitting quite neutral here on that selling pressure to buying pressure. As you can kind of see, it is giving some curvature back to the upside here. So waiting for that money flow to kind of roll over from those shorter term time frames into that daily to get that MACD cross with some momentum here. You are looking heavy red on our prime oscillator right now. Volume is selling pressure for now, but you are getting some nice curvature here, waiting for that move back to the top side with some of that money flow. So looking like you might see some shorter term resistance back here at this fair value gap I had drawn out from I believe it was the 4 hour, and that's where you might see some of that resistance on that shorter term time frame to turn this back into some heavy support at 96,400. That's that area I've been wanting to see us turn into support because it makes it very, very easy for us to get back to that 50% fib and 96,900. That'd be that next little area I would watch if we can get back into this fair value gap and turn it into some support here. You do have that 4 hour looking like it's already making that move to the top side. We did get that strong bounce off of 94,100 with the candle bodies there, waiting for volume to really come back in as some buying pressure. Money flow is still sitting red here, but it is just light selling pressure. So nothing too worrisome, especially as we're approaching this fair value gap all over again, which we saw as resistance on the top side once we got back down to these levels. Just waiting on that money flow to come back in as some buying pressure, especially as the volume is starting to pick back up as some buying pressure. So I do see Aptos requested. Let me get that added to the list. All right, waiting for us to kind of close this whole fair value gap as we failed to really get above it. Especially above that midline. We did wick above it quite heavily on the higher term time frames, where we saw very heavy resistance on the shorter term time frames with the candle bodies. So definitely looking for that close of the fair value gap before we get back up to that 50% and 96,900. You do have that 1 hour already seeing that MACD cross of our zero line. Volume is looking quite nice here on the hourly, but we're waiting for that money flow to really come back in. It is still some selling pressure, looking like it's getting a bit of a rollover as that prime oscillator is starting to get that same little rollover. It is sitting quite green here, so if we can see that money flow coming in from the shorter term time frame and turn into some buying pressure here, getting that move back up to that 50% line, which has been some heavy resistance since we broke below it, would be a nice move to see. Would need to see us really turn this into some support here on our shorter term time frame. You do see us making very equal candle bodies here as soon as we break broke that range there. So looking for that money flow to come in, kind of like most of our other assets. We've been kind of waiting on money flow for the past week or so, and that's gonna be what we're watching for on the higher term time frames. Until we get that money flow on our higher term time frames, it's going to be a lot of ranging action, which if you're looking for that last break to the top side, would be a nice buying range. So looking for that money flow to bleed over from our shorter term time frames. You have the 15-minute looking quite toppy here as your money flow is rolling over just a bit. You did make a higher high here, looking to kind of slow off. So looking for that reversal signal to play out just a bit. There are some hidden divergences here as well that have yet to play out as we got that move to the upside. Looking for that 96 400 range to be turned back into some potential support here. Will really depend if that money flow can hold steady and we get that push back up to our 50, that midline of our fair value gap. If not, I would look at coming back down to the midline of this whole range here that we got that bounce off of our golden pocket. Let me get that drawn out. It is a bit of a fair value gap. We do have that range sitting quite nicely with, let's go right there, where that midline is sitting at about 96, almost 96 exactly. Let me get that deleted. So 96 would be a nice little bouncing range to make a strong area if we do lose this 96 400, which it looks like we might, and then continue back to the top side as we cool off this prime oscillator and MACD as well, especially with how the 1 hour and the 4 hour we're looking, just waiting for that those crosses and the momentum to really scoot back to the top side. Looking for that bouncing range for the morning down here at the midline, or potentially down here at these very equal candle bodies at 95 800. I see Crypto Billy in the chat. Good morning, good morning. I see Darren Does Things and French Toaster. Good morning. Bit late, just got back from my son's swim coaching. Oh, well, that's a nice one there. You don't really hear about a lot of swimmers, so I know that's quite a extensive cardio one there. So good on you for that. Oh, hopefully it gets better, bro. Apparently French Toaster has some strep throat. Hope you get to feeling better quite soon, French Toaster. I know that's a difficult one to deal with. We've got Kelly L in the chat. Good morning. She says, "Whoa, short hair." Yeah, I got a haircut last week, and then I've just been rocking it ever since. We've got Crypto Billy saying good morning to everyone. Got Darren Does Things. Good morning, good morning. And Crypto Billy says that Donato Cabrera with that second baseman announcer voice. We've got oh, let's see. I could have swore I saw. Yep, yeah, I did see. We've got Al Jr. in the chat as well. Good morning to you. Hope you're having a great day so far. All right, let's hop into this news article. I did see Aptos requested. I didn't see any other alt request as I was scrolling through there. So go ahead, drop some alt requests for me, because this news article will not take very long. The breakdown from it might take just a little bit, but there's a lot to break down from it, especially since we've been seeing this tariff news continuing to go forward, and Trump keeps adding more and more that he would like to tariff to try to bring some more strength to that American economy. Gold on cusp of record as Trump eyes 25% tariffs on auto. Is bullion next? Gold prices almost hit a fresh all-time high Wednesday morning. The precious metal advanced to a session peak of 2,939 per ounce, just $3 shy of the ultimate record of 2,942 hit earlier this month. What's behind the surge? Consistent anxiety over whether bullion is next in line for looming tariffs coming out of the U.S. Trump's tariff plan has been expanding slowly to cover more and more items on their way into America. The latest items to get slapped with a tariff are cars, drugs, and chips. Donald Trump late on Tuesday said that these three will get a 25% tax treatment on the border, with cars being the first to feel the impact effective April 2nd. Tariffs on drugs and chip will get rolled out late in a later stage. Gold has been seeing elevated investor appetite as Trump's tariff drama has triggered panic buying from central banks, exchange traded funds, and most of all, the main U.S. marketplace for trading metals, COMEX. Gold flying over the Atlantic. Over 100 billion worth of gold bars are now stacked up on COMEX as hurried gold dealers are busy flying as much as they can from London. But the process is far from easy. They first need to send it to a refinery in Switzerland so it can be compliant with COMEX standards. Analysts, meanwhile, are all the more bullish on the yellow metal. Goldman Sachs strategists are calling for $3,000 an ounce gold prices still this year, a forecast that could materialize sooner than later. And this is definitely something that Piper has talked about. Seeing that $3,000 gold price is potentially heading our way, especially with the way that the economy has been heading, the uncertainty from the general market with the tariffs come into play. And it's definitely that hedge against inflation, especially as you've been seeing inflation really increase as well. So multiple reasons here to continue buying gold, especially with the potential tariffs that might come out on gold as well. You've been seeing no different than what China did when they thought they were going to get hit with that giant tariff of 10%. They flooded the markets. So got a bit of a trade deficit there, and you're starting to see that come to call with gold as well. I see HNT requested, got that added to the list. We got that morning motivational video this morning. It says Crypto Billy. I shared that at the top of the chat, so I think I've still got it copied. Let me see. Oh no, had something else copied from when I was trying to enter a trade. Let me get that copied and pasted. We got that in the chat. If y'all don't, check out those Crypto Billy videos in the morning. Should definitely check those out. I really like starting my morning off with that motivation. All right, let's get a little breakdown of that news article, especially since it's quite heavy to unpack. You know, it's been a while since we've seen America being a strong auto producer, especially with the flooding that we saw of American production of cars after '08 and the bailout of all of the auto industry. And we got all those companies that got bailed out, and they immediately moved their manufacturing practices to China. And when they got hit with some Chinese tariffs, moved some of their manufacturing to Mexico. So I do see it as a bit of a positive for a 25% tariff on some of these cars. You want to make American cars a little bit stronger, and you want to nix a lot of that crappy practices of, hey, we're an American auto company, but we don't manufacture any of our good in America. We just are housed in America. Then one of the ways to do that is to slap the tariff on the import. Kind of brings more regulation on these auto industries, especially since they've been having a lot of problems. I don't know if you've noticed, but the recall amount on cars has gone up quite extremely ever since they moved these practices to other countries which don't have as high regulation manufacturing standards. So definitely multiple positives that could be heading from that. You could also see reducing trade deficits on that, especially since we do import quite a bit. If you start manufacturing some of these big goods, like like cars per se, everyone with the way America is set up needs a vehicle, and if you have to import less of these because they're made at home, you will see less of a trade deficit on that. Also with the chips, you have most of these chips are being made in Asia. It allows some strength in that sector, especially since a bunch of these chips are on that on the defense side of things, and it'd be nice to produce our own chips for defense standards, especially since you're watching some of these countries try to steal that information, like China, who are trying to catch up to us on some of that defense spending as well. So watching us bring more strength would also bring some more jobs. It kind of bodes well that you did see the CHIPS Act that was enacted by Biden, and then Trump's trying to use that stick to make sure that it goes into play, especially if it's a very expensive to import your chip there. It'll kind of boost those companies looking at bringing those manufacturings to the U.S., especially since they will both get paid out, and then they won't have to pay the tariff on it either. So you already saw a few companies try to take advantage of that CHIP Act, but you might see a few more companies now, especially since it's going to be 25% more expensive to move that good into the U.S. You also have promoting innovation, especially with the medical side of things, instead of outsourcing a lot of this to let's say riskier places where they don't have they don't have as good safety standards, which we see constantly, especially with all that COVID nonsense. I won't dive too deep in that. I'm not going to put on that tinfoil hat. But as you see, America has a much higher standards on their manufacturing process of drugs and their research process on drugs as well. So to kind of force that money back into the U.S. economy would be a nice thing to see. And you might see that medical side, which has been doing extremely well in the past few years of the stock market, do even better and see more innovation as well. America has a lot of money to spend there, and we are quite innovative when incentivized to do so. So definitely watching for some of the potential benefits from this. It will be a bit of a risky landscape to kind of weed our way through, but I'm just hoping that it is all done properly, especially with the Trump administration's more naysaying members, like the Fed on the chair that we have for his whole what's his name? I'm drawing a blank on his name, but he's the one. Instead of having 60% tariffs on China, it was like, Trump, let's go with 10% tariffs. So they are just as effective. And we will kind of watch to see if this can get balanced out quite nicely. All right, I see username. Word on the street is BC wanted to do a portfolio review for me, but mine put him into tears. All he could say is it was the greatest, perfect, and beautiful. Oh my goodness, username. I don't even know what your portfolio looks like yet, but I will definitely do a portfolio review with you if you want. If you are interested in portfolio reviews, I'm not going to tell you what to buy or what not to buy. I'm more going to dive into like the risk appetite. So you choose a risk level and we'll kind of tranche it on out as to like what percentage allocations and what risk level. And that's kind of more going to be my portfolio review there. So anyone interested in that, we've got the WAP Upperclassmen, which you can join for $20 a month, and you get a lot in there. So that WAP Upperclassmen part of our Discord does quite a bit. It's also got a DCA strategy in there as well. So a lot we offer for $20 a month, and can get even more there. All right, let's hop into gold. You know, I did have that news article on gold. And as you can kind of see here, we topped out at the platinum pocket on a Fibonacci extension. He knows, don't let him fool you, it happened. Even wanted a hug, but you know, different states. Oh my goodness, username. Well, let's dive into that. Let's dive into your portfolio after the show, and then I'll see if I give you the BC stamp of approval or not. Uh, I'm pretty sure you got some degen projects in there though, so your risk appetite is quite different than mine. I only own Bitcoin and Ethereum and Tau and Near and Injective and OP for now, because I'm very, very, very picky. You know, I got a few sectors that I thought would do well, and then I chose the winners out of that because I that initial push up, I bought a lot of the different sectors, and then I bought back into what did the best. So I'm down to do a portfolio review if you are, and then we'll see if it really gets that BC stamp of approval or not. All right, gold getting that rejection at the platinum pocket here on our Fibonacci extension, breaking back into our range for our Fibonacci retracements here. You do have us looking to potentially hold the golden pocket on our Fibonacci extension, sitting down here at $2,930. But if you continue to see this money flow coming on out, let me get that back to our demonstration there. If you continue to see this money flow slowing down, as you can see, we peaked. Wrong one. We peaked out here and have been slowing down ever since. Looking for another little bit of a rollover here as our prime oscillator is getting that curvature. Still sitting green, so looking a little bit bullish there. But the volume is light green here, as our MACD is also getting that same curvature here on the 4-hour. So more macro is looking for some of these lower price targets. You do have a few areas to see some bouncing. That would be this $2,918, which we got very equal candle bodies on. And as soon as we broke above, moved through quite quickly. We do have the 382 on our extension as well, which is a nice little area. We saw plenty of resistance and moved through quite quickly to create a bit of a fair value gap. So looking for these bouncing ranges a little bit lower to continue this upside trend. You can kind of see here we are making higher lows on the macro, so this would also be a higher low here down at this 382 and $2,904. Zoom this on in to that hourly, and you can kind of see we're already topped out here, getting that move back down on our prime, on our MACD, as we just broke through the indicator line to the top side and then back down on the bottom side. We do have money flow also kind of rolling over quite heavily here, as our prime oscillator stacked up a divergence and went from bright green immediately towards red, and that volume is rolling over as well. Looking for those bouncing ranges, as gold is quite overbought here. At least let me see what the chat's saying. Is it BC stamp of approval, like the Nintendo stamp of approval? I don't know if I'd give it that high of a standard. That Nintendo stamp of approval is pretty strong there. Missed my entry on ADA trade. Jesse was asleep. 73 cents, missed it. We can take a look at ADA as well. You might get another stab at that. Let me add that to the list. Got Ada added to that list. Oh, damn, Billy. Yep. And this is why Jesse never sleeps, because he's an absolute degen and hates missing out on that money. Kelly L says, 30 degrees, feeling balmy outside. Dog walks getting better. I'm so jealous. It is -6 degrees here right now, and it feels like a -22. Was not looking forward to going to the gym this morning. I heard my whole Alexa has a let me mute that thing before it says anything. It's been negative degrees for quite a while now, and when I heard Alexa say that it was -3 this morning on my whole wake up routine, I was like, I just rolled over for a second, and then she kept talking. I was like, I guess I'll go to the gym, but I'm quite jealous of your 30-degree weather there. We got hey, if anyone has done anything on Abstract, they posted they were compromised to disconnect your wallet. I might have to dive into that one for a news article tomorrow. In the 80s, I never slept. Yeah, I bet you didn't, username, you absolute degen. All right, I have to know his time zone to get him that entry. Can definitely, I believe he's East Coast, if I'm not mistaken. So let's hop over to the Dixie. I've been taking a look at that. As we've been seeing a lot of the tariff news, it has been bringing some strength back to the dollar. You did see that bounce off of one of the key areas I wanted to see us hold, and that was at 106.72. We got a nice strong bounce off of that as we saw some bottoming signals here on our prime oscillator with a reversal signal, switched from heavy red to light red here, waiting for that MACD to get that same curvature here and across of our indicator line, moving back up towards this zero line and back up to our platinum pocket on our Fibonacci extension. That's been a key battle area which we have yet to hold, and that's going to be that next area I would really look at us holding for the Dixie if we can continue to see strengthening news coming out from the Trump administration with tariffs. So keep your eyes on the Dixie as we watch this more and more tariff news come out and more breakdown of the tariff news. So that's bringing some strength into the dollar. That daily looking like it's ready to move back up here. You do have that hourly looking like you might get another little touch back down at some lower levels. Prime oscillator getting some nice, let me get that moved over so you can see. Prime oscillator getting some nice curvature here on the hourly. Volume is starting to pick back up though, so looking at a potential continuation here into some of these lows from the way down, about 107.37 before we really get a move back down on this and a continuation to the upside. Dollar's looking quite strong here. We have been seeing it gain some strength against a lot of currencies with the tariff news coming out. We got Mike Volmer saying a -13 degrees. I'm not jealous of you. 23 ain't bad, says username from Retro Mike Tech saying it's 23. I'm jealous of that 23. It's absolutely freezing here. We've got -13. You live in the mountains. Jesus. No, upstate New York. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense there. You think Seoul is rejecting here? Let me get Seoul added to the list. I can definitely take a look at that one. And then I talked about Seoul quite a bit yesterday. I'm not sure. Is that Rashad in the chat? Good morning. Good morning. It's been a little while since I've seen you here. Let's see. I talked about Seoul quite heavily on Crypto Coin Mindset's channel yesterday. We did a video on the breakdown of the whole rug pulls that we've seen recently, and a whole breakdown on the whole Solana network. We dived quite heavily into that. Go check out his channel. It was the live stream from last night. So we dived a lot into Solana and why it might continue to see a bit of a downtrend here. We do have a few alt requests we can take a look at. So Aptos was the first requested. Let me scroll on down. Aptos sitting at 26 and holding strong on the list. We got it moving back up towards our platinum pocket here on our Fibonacci retracement. Looking a bit toppy here on the 4-hour, but still got plenty of room to run as volume is starting to pick up as some buying pressure here on the higher term time frame. Really waiting to see if a money flow can hold steady. We do have the MACD, which just ended up breaking our 0 line, creating a bit of some width from our indicator line, as our indicator line is falling quite heavily as well. So if we can get back to our platinum pocket here, which he stalled out on the way down, turn this into some support and be very easy to make a bounce back up to that $8.39. Let's get that horizontal ray drawn out so you can get that area seen quite nicely. That'd be that next area I would kind of look at if we can turn this platinum pocket into some support here, as we are getting a bit toppy on the 4-hour. Would need to see a bit of some cool off here. 1 hour is running quite heavily. You do have some overbought signals flashing, reversal signal flashing. Volume still picking up though. You do get that switch of our prime oscillator from green to red, but it looks like it's completely being ignored as Aptos is making that move back up towards our platinum pocket. You definitely have a bit of some support areas we can bounce off of here on our shorter term time frame. If we get back up to that platinum pocket, you've got a very equal range here at about $6.37, which would be that next area I'd kind of look at for a bounce if we don't get above that platinum pocket there to see a bit of some cool off. You can see us moving quite strongly back up towards that platinum pocket as we try to turn that back into some support. Let me zoom this on in to that 15-minute and see what the morning is bringing our way. You have several divergences stacked up here on that 15-minute, as you can see, stacking those up, but we're getting that pushback up to the upside here as money flow is coming back in for Aptos. You do have that strong resistance area of the platinum pocket, looking to get that cross of our indicator line again on the top side as we're seeing that move back up towards the platinum pocket. You do have a bit of a resistance. We're approaching it right now. That's that area right above us. Gonna be $6.57, which we're crossing right now, and that's gonna be a little bit of an area you might see some bouncing at if we falter on the way up to the platinum pocket. If we do get up to that platinum pocket, reject, that's where that 1 hour and 4 hour, we're looking at like some potential topping here, and that's where you might come see that lower level turn into that bouncing area for Aptos before we continue back up towards the platinum pocket there. We are breaking that range right now with some heavy volume, so looking for that platinum pocket first and potentially some bouncing at these lower levels to get back up above that there. Got Jay Violet. We got a little bit of snow again last night. Not as much as last time though. Yeah, we got a little bit of snow yesterday too. It was like a half an inch, so I didn't have to go do any snow removal, which I would not have been looking forward to, as it was -1 degrees and was feeling like a -18 yesterday. So I have not been enjoying this winter. I'm ready to have enough money to be a snowbird. I'm not even old, but I want to be a snowbird so bad because the winter sucks so hard here. All right, we had Ada that we can take a look at, try to find some more bouncing areas or rejection areas. We did come quite nicely back up to this 76 cent range that I've talked about quite a bit. Looking like we might be rejecting off of it quite nicely here and coming back down to our lower levels. That 76 was an area we needed to turn into some support. 15-minute looking quite toppy. We've got a divergence or two. Yep, two divergences here that are playing out as we've made these higher highs. Our prime oscillator shifts from green immediately to red as we're seeing a little bit of slow up on the money flow. We do have a potential bouncing range here at the top side of this order block. That's going to be 75.7, which would be a nice little area right where we saw the lows as well to potentially see some bouncing if you can at least maintain some of the nice green money flow on the volume so looking for a bouncing a little bit lower before we try to continue that trend to the upside here on that 15-minute. Your hourly definitely has a lot more room to run here. Looking a little bit like you're seeing some slow up here, but your volume is starting to pick back up on the hourly. Looking for some green money flow to come back in for ADA on the higher term time frames. And let's take a look at that 4 hour there. 4 hour looking like you're seeing that you've seen that first reversal signal here flash. Got your prime oscillator moving back towards the top side as your true 7 clipped out, looking light red here, so you might see that little bit more curvature before you see that move back up with some strong money flow. MACD getting at a second little move back towards our indicator line, looking for that money flow just like the rest of everything to kind of come back in quite heavily on our higher term time frames. Things have been looking quite similar here as everything's been in a quite ranging area since the beginning. So quite a strong range here between our golden pocket and our 50% Fibonacci on a retracement. Looking to potentially get back up to that if we can see that positive money flow coming in on those higher term time frames. Everyone just goes to Florida. Is it really going somewhere else when your neighbors are still your neighbors? Says username. Snowbirding is the Alaskan dream. Yeah, it's been a dream of mine for quite a while. I wouldn't want to go to Florida though. I want to buy a, a place in a U.S. territory instead and island hop it. So that'd be quite nice. We've got a few little areas that the U.S. Claims as territories, which is very cheap. And on the other side of that, a few of those places are tax havens too. So multi-purpose snowbird in there. We had HNT requested. I don't think I have that on my list. That's a project I haven't looked at in quite a while, but I know it does quite a bit. Let's take a look at it on Coinbase. No, I haven't looked at it in forever, apparently. Let's zoom this on out to our daily, see where we're sitting. Sitting at some equal lows down here. Let's get the whole range drawn out from the lows here to our first high there, which was the biggest high. All right. Sitting right at that platinum pocket there, looking to try to hold that as some support. Let's get this zoomed on in. As you can kind of see, our daily is looking like there might be some continued rollover. Money flow sitting quite terrible here on the daily. looking for those potential lows all over again. That's 286, where you might see some strong bouncing. Let's get that drawn a little thicker. Let's get this next one as well, where we have a bit of an order block. It's going to be $3 and about 5 cents there, where you might see another little bouncing area. Let me get those locked. Zoom this on in to a shorter term time frame. Take a look at that hour there. As you can see, that hour also getting the same kind of roll over here, losing the platinum pocket after we just tried to hold it as some support. Heavy red candle, as we do see money flow rolling over again here, getting that move back down, looking quite toppy as you got to the platinum pocket here, which is a very ugly thing to see. You do have a bit of an order block below us, so retesting that would be and something to kind of watch for on HNT. I know this is quite a utility project, so if you have faith in something like HNT, which is an Internet of Things play, you might look at buying some of the lows for if you think there's a more upside. It's been quite a while since we've been down at this range, so seeing that move back up as all of our moving averages are kind of curving back up to the upside on the higher term time frames would be a nice little move to see. Looking for those lower areas though, as it is quite toppy. You have that 15-minute also showing that it's going to make that strong move back down. You have money flow rolling over as well, getting that got that brief move back into the green, but it's slowing up quite heavily. You've got MACD looking to cross your zero line here as we're breaking that platinum pocket on our Fibonacci extension. Indicator line dragging back down to the bottom as well. If you can hold some of these lower areas as some support here, you have a potential bouncing range of $3.28 on the short-term time frame. You've got plenty of upside for, let me get that a little bit thinner so you can see a shorter term time bounce, and that's where you'd look back up for some of the platinum pocket to hold as some support. And that next little battle range would be about $3.60, where we have all of these equal candles there. Gonna make that a little bit thicker so you can see it is a higher term time frame thing. So that top side first little area, which we tried to hold as some support on the way down, be that $3 and almost 60 cents there. You saw that be our little bouncing point before we really lost it heavily to get back down to that platinum pocket. So you can see some bouncing here, depending on how money flow continues on that 4 hour, that 1 hour where it was very heavy selling pressure. If you can see that kind of switch back into some buying pressure, you do have some top side targets of about $3.60 there. Got a strong bounce off of it there. Got a strong bounce off of it here before we really lost it. So let's take a look at Sol. And if I got some time, I'll take a look at LTC as well. Let me get that added. All right, let's hop over to some Solana. One of my favorite projects, you know. Let's zoom it on out to that daily. Trying to hold that platinum pocket here. We did lose that golden pocket quite heavily. This is from our current range. Let's get that zoomed on in. Daily looking like you might see some continued sell off, money flow rolling over as it is quite heavy selling pressure. Prime oscillator sitting very red here. Not seeing any reversal signals starting to flash as we're coming back down towards that platinum pocket. So looking a little bit ugly on Solana, especially with all of the news that has been coming out quite recently on Solana and some of the meme projects on there. So 4 hour looking like it's trying to hold that platinum pocket as some support, but as you can see here, that money flow is looking ugly here on the 4 hour as well. MACD hitting across of our indicator line, but it is doing it very sideways. So definitely looking like you might see that platinum pocket coming back to play here on the higher term, on the shorter term time frames, and maybe a break back below it. Got Crypto Billy saying, gotta run. Hope you have a great day, Crypto Billy. Let's see, Jesse, what you pick on the pop quiz says all set. Not sure what the pop quiz was. Oh, on Crypto Billy's. I didn't pick one, but I'd probably go B or D. Let's see. We've got all set saying have a good day, Crypto Billy. BC drinking that coffee, nose up and pinky out, kiss the ring. Actually been drinking a Ghost Welch's grape juice. Yeah, it's so delicious. All right. Let's zoom Solana in to a shorter term time frame. Take a look at that hourly. And that's where you see in the hourly also look a little bit toppy there. Got your break above our zero line here on the hourly, on the MACD, and looking to kind of move sideways, and the same as our prime oscillator is. Money flow slowing up on that selling pressure just a bit here as we're getting above that platinum pocket, but with how toppy everything is on this as well, I would really look at that platinum pocket bounce before we see a continuation. You've got some strong resistance areas sitting above us at 181.35, which would be that first area to really get above and turn into some support. All right, let's see what that 15-minute and the morning is heading our way. Yep, looking like this brief buying volume is slowing up quite heavily, and that platinum pocket might come back to call here. We've got very equal lows that we might take out here at 163. There's going to be a bit of liquidity at that range if we are unable to hold that platinum pocket. Let's get that drawn out there. 163.89. Let's make that thinner so we know it's a shorter term time frame bounce. That's going to be that little area I would look at if we are unable to hold that platinum pocket. All right, we had LTC requested. Let me get a brief rundown of it. I don't have much time. LTC, there we go. Let's just take a look at it on that 15. Approaching a strong resistance area above us at 140.93. Looking like we're seeing a bit of some rollover here as our MACD made a divergence here as it made a higher high and a lower high on our MACD, getting that volume kind of coming out. Saw several reversal signals flash before you really saw that coming into play. Prime oscillator sitting very heavily red there. You might see a bit of some bouncing here. Equal, very equal. Going to be 132.91, which you might see a shorter term time frame bounce on. If you're unable to maintain that, I would look back here at about 128.27 for our next little bouncing range. Sol is death monthly rejection, BC. Yeah, Sol is quite ugly. Let me pull up this Solana chart real quick. This is the Sol market cap, and let's zoom that on out to the daily. And as you can kind of see, we are rejecting quite heavily with this. We are seeing a continuation on the MACD here. We're seeing that roll over quite heavily. You're seeing your money flow rejecting quite heavily as well. You're down 45%, I believe it is, on market cap from January to now, down 44.75. So market caps looking quite ugly on Solana, making lower lows as well after we made this higher high. Really looking a bit ugly for Solana, especially with all the news as well. So I wouldn't be if you've got conviction, I'd buy Solana, but I'd be looking for some lower prices. All right, it is 7 o'clock and time for some Alexo crypto. Speaking of it, Jay Violet just dropped that link in the chat. When you get over there, drop those Piper Academy graduation caps in the chat. I appreciate every single one of you for tuning in today. It's a pleasure to have you here every morning, having some fun in the chats, looking at some projects and doing some learning together, because here at the Piper Academy, knowledge is profit. Make sure to tune into the rest of the shows so you can get the rest of that knowledge. Piper will break down that data that we will be getting this morning. It's going to be at 10 a.m. right after Alexo Crypto. Make sure to tune into that Trade Academy as well at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Got the Crypto Nightcap at 8 p.m. Eastern Time and Markets After Dark at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you, everyone. Make sure to wake up because today's going to be a good day.